This wizarding subclass can be very potent if you're willing to make the Crimson Sacrifice.
Today we're reviewing the Blood Arcana Wizard by VillainTheory. Welcome to the Homebrew Crew. I'm Tony, this is Sean, and today we are going over another class by VillainTheory on DNDBeyond, and that is the Blood Arcana Wizard.
Yeah, so this wizard is going to be focusing on tapping into their own life force and sacrificing hit points in order to intensify the effects of their magical spells.
Now, I know what you're thinking. Homebrew Crew, come on, another one with hit dice? No, no, no. This one does not use hit dice. This one just literally sacrifices your health.
Yes, and it's very interesting. There's a lot of ways that this class is flavored, to sacrifice health, do the extra features. So there's a lot of really great things about this that kind of goes out of the realm of just hit dice.
And each step, just as one of the things that we normally love about subclasses, is when they build upon the next as far as their class features, and this one does exactly that. So let's not waste any time. Let's get into each of these because I know you guys are starving to hear it.
Yeah, so at level 2 you get Crimson Exchange, which is one of the most main features of the class itself. So essentially whenever you cast a wizard spell with a spell slot, you can choose to take damage equal to double of the spell slot's level, and essentially it's going to give you one of 3 different effects depending on what you pick.
Right, so if I'm spending a second level spell slot, I'm taking 4 hit points.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not too bad.
Yeah,
Of course, if I'm, like level 3 and I take 4 hit points, that's...
It's a bit of a problem, especially for a wizard, which tends to be some of the more squishier classes, but you do get some pretty cool effects. So
true.
The 3 that you can pick from are the spell can be 1 level higher than the normal spell slot. You can ignore an enemy's resistance for that spell, or if the spell is 4th level or higher, you can actually get a first spell slot level back.
That's true. And remember, you can only use one of these. It's not, you can't grab a couple of them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yet. But we do build on that later. Now, you also get another second level ability with this, right?
Yes, so at also level 2 you get Thicker Than Water, which is very useful for your short rests, because now you're going to get additional 1d4 hit points for every hit die that you spend, and you can now use a dagger as a spellcasting focus.
Now, that's really great for many, many reasons, Sean, because, obviously, okay, you want to have a dagger ready, you can go and stab something, whatever, and it plays in thematically too.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, all that. But remember, you have to have a spellcasting focus in one hand and a free hand in order to cast. Now you can have your weapon be a spellcasting focus.
Yeah, and of course, we have those party members that kind of just want to take that short rest, and I know what you're thinking, I need my spell slots back, but at least you can get a good amount of health back if you're taking a nap.
Why does the warlock always get his spell slots back? So this is something that builds upon, and something that's really, really great with it. Now, you also get things at 6th, 10th, and 14th level and Wizard subclass in D&D 5th edition. And what do we have there for 6th level?
So this is going to build on that dagger. You get Sanguine Kiss. So as a bonus action, you can now make a melee weapon attack with the dagger, and on a hit, it does the normal damage plus the wizard level.
Half your wizard level, that's true. And then from there, as long as it's not undead or a construct with that, you can actually remove those points from your Crimson.
Yeah, so essentially the damage that you're dealing on yourself with the Crimson Exchange on that same turn, you can actually negate that with the damage that you're doing with the Sanguine Kiss feature.
So essentially with it, and this is how I think about it, you go up and you hit that troll with it, and you get the blood from that, and you do the damage with that as your bonus action, what have you.
Yeah.
And now, instead of having to use that Crimson Exchange for your own health, you can use the blood that's been spilled of your enemies.
Yeah, and not to mention, being able to melee as a bonus action while casting a spell on the same turn is pretty awesome too.
That is. Now we get into our 10th level ability, and this one doesn't really have a lot to it, but if you think about it, it's very situational and very good, and I think it balances out the class very well.
Yeah, so this next one called Ruby Withering. So essentially, whenever you use your Crimson Exchange feature, any creatures, so it could be 1 or more, you can choose to have them gain this effect where they can't regain any hit points until the end of their turn. So no healing, no other features. They can't regain hit points until the end of their next turn.
You hear that, Strahd? How do you like it? You're not regaining hit points, and I'm the one that's taking blood this time.
Yeah, exactly. And like you said, at level 10, it's not like a huge feature, but imagine if you're, maybe casting a fireball or something, and you're targeting multiple, maybe 5 or 6 different creatures. You can essentially do that to a lot of different opponents.
Absolutely.
And as situational as it is, it's still a pretty useful thing to have.
Yeah, and obviously there are different things, not just vampires that you can go up against. Trolls is another one. They have that regen thing that they do. And then we should look at the 14th level ability here. And normally 14th level abilities are this big blasting thing for wizards. You know, there's things like, you know, shattering the world and this, that, whatever. But I think this one's pretty balanced as well. And that one is Scarlet Tides.
Yeah, so Scarlet Tides, essentially, when you use Crimson Exchange, you can actually now take the additional damage equal to the level of the spell slot and become unable to regain hit points until the end of your turn. But now you can pick 2 of those Crimson Exchange features, and that spell attack on that same turn will have advantage.
Right, so a little bit more sacrifice, a little bit more ability.
Yeah, it's interesting, you know, because normally I was actually ready to see, like, oh, you extend tendrils of blood and deal 14d6 damage, but this is kind of nice because it essentially takes those features that we've been kind of learning to use and building upon as you've been going through the class and just making it, like, a lot better.
Yeah, and see, again, this is the thing that we always talk about, is that it has to build upon what you have before it. If you've got some ability that's just out of the blue like that, like, oh, well, you create wings of blood and now you can fly. Yes, it's blood, but it doesn't really go with the mechanic that you created, so it doesn't really work. You say this one's focused on literally damage to yourself and disabling abilities for monsters and things like that, like making them weaker.
Yeah, now, this is one of the highest rated wizard subclasses on D&D Beyond, and I think that's for a couple different reasons. I think for one is very balanced. 2, it kind of introduces this, you know, we've seen classes where they, you sacrifice a little bit to get some things back, but the fact that it's on a wizard and that its hit points kind of makes it matter a little bit more, because it's not something that we typically see. And the features work really well hand in hand with each other. I mean, like, you know, some of the features like, you know, Thicker Than Water and Sanguine Kiss and Crimson Exchange, you know, they kind of work together to kind of create this really nice subclass package. And we do highly recommend it if you want to use it in your homebrew campaign.
Just don't give that player that Amulet of Health.
Yeah.
Now it's a little overpowered. Yeah, but everything else is great.
Yeah, make sure they don't find like a manual of bodily health anytime soon. You know, watch out for that kind of stuff. But otherwise, it's pretty balanced.
And again, that one there is the Blood Arcana Wizard subclass by VillainTheory. You can find it in D&D Beyond. We will put a link in the description below, like always.
Yep. And of course, if you want to see more homebrew reviews on classes, monsters, items, spells, everything like that, be sure to subscribe to our channel. We do have a lot of videos coming out every week, and be sure to hit the notification bell. That way you are always aware when we get a new video out.
We always receive so many requests from you guys right down here at dmbroker@gmail.com. Definitely put in their submissions so we know what it is, but there is so many on there. Please don't feel offended if we don't get to it. There's a lot to go through. Absolutely right. And our Patreons is another thing we have to talk about.
Yes, thank you so much for anyone who is already a Patreon. A lot of the funding helps, like building a new set, obviously, helping with some of the costs that we run into. So if you do want to check that out, you can follow the link down below as well.
And remember, the best campaigns are always the ones that are homebrewed. So until next time,
keep brewing.